saw more and more players busting. As the field dwindled, the money bubble arrived and hand-for-hand play began. Some were lucky to double, and that's what Chris Triber was looking to do when he 4-bet shoved holding pocket nines. Dylan game called with his ace-king. Dylan paired on the flop. The board ran out with no help for Chris, who was eliminated short of cashing. And the rest of the players would bag up their chips with a guaranteed payday.
So we are in the money, which is cool. There's still a really long way to go, but I'm in a good spot, so I'm cautiously excited.
Chase's excitement was well-deserved as he held the second spot on the leaderboard. But it was Chicago player Alex Akel in the top spot, who had a pretty good perspective on his chip lead.
Doesn't mean anything yet. Can I put this down? Yeah, you can. Heavy, it's a lot of chips.
177 players were still in the hunt at WPT Borgata, and excitement was in the air.
Hey, I'm just happy there is another day. Poker or not, just another day.
It's unbelievable to go deep in these events. It's always an incredible experience.
There's definitely a little bit of a buzz, you know, being in the money.
And for many players, there's more than just money at stake.
It would mean a lot to me to be a WPT champion. It's very prestigious, and it's a huge honor to have your name on that cup, and hopefully one day it'll be up there.
With everyone in the money, there were lots of players going all in. It worked for some, like East Coast poker veteran David Farah, who scored a well-timed double up.
Come on, give me a hug.
And for others,
Hey, I love love.
It was a bust. Including Jeremy Kotler, who got sent to the rail by the calm and collected Brandon Hall. For Lucas Braga, it was hard to contain his excitement of experiencing a dream come true. Playing next to the great Phil Hellmuth.
I want to show you so bad. I don't know why. You're the only person I ever want to show. I'm such a fanboy. It's so sick.
While Lucas was excited to be playing with Phil, fireworks were brewing.
We're trying to trap them. It started when Phil said he was going to trap me and I was going to give him all the chips. I went crazy and I got there, just runner gutter against Phil, and I spike it on the river, bet big. He basically snap calls me. I flip over my hand and nuts and he just goes crazy.
What the is going on here?
Typical Phil. It was my dream. I love him, but I've been waiting for this moment.
What the hell is going on here?
Soon after, Phil was all in with top pair and a flush draw against a flopped set. Phil didn't catch his spade on the river and was out.
You deserve it, nice hand. I'm really in form right now, I'm really in the zone, so it's unfortunate that kid got lucky on me. I would have had probably 700,000 or 800,000, and I would have been very difficult to stop, but that's poker.
And the unfortunate "that was poker" line proved true for a slew of other players who busted before the end of the day. Play went deep into the night. Florida native Nick Schwarman captured the chip lead with 29 players still in contention and the WPT title closer in sight. Play would take us down to our final 6 players, giving everyone hope of moving one step closer to seeing their name engraved onto the WPT Champions Cup.
This is a dream, everybody wants to get that trophy.
It would mean a lot, it's just a big accomplishment in the poker world.
It will be amazing. I look forward to see what's going to happen.
With cards in the air, the players were focused and ready to win. Unfortunately for some, the dream became a bust. Players were heading on a break when Millard Margie put Vinny Lima to the test. Millard went all in on the river with a board showing 2 pair. Vinny tanked, then called. Millard showed pocket 6s for 2 pair, but Lima turned over pocket 9s for a better 2 pair, eliminating Millard and setting Vinny up with chips for the second half of the day.
The lights are moving downstairs into the poker room.
With the action heating up, the tournament staff moved the final 2 tables out of the Borgata Event Centre and down to the high limit area of the poker room.
Everything's always changing, so you gotta be on your toes.
The new location seemed to energize local favourite David Farah.
Oh, man. Am I allowed to do a live straddle? We've been bluffing for the past hour. Let's go. All right, guys, come on, let's start gambling. Let's go.
And making a good gamble is exactly what Phil Hellmuth's former rival, Lucas Braga, did by shoving with ace-king. But two-time WPT final tableist Daniel Buzgon flopped a set and won the race, sending Lucas home in 13th place. Things were also shifting for Nick Schwarman, who started the day as chip leader, but was now sitting at the bottom of the pack. Needing to make a move, Nick shoved on the turn against Brandon Hall. After some thought, Brandon called with King 8 for a pair of eights. Nick had 2 overcards and a flush draw, but the river was no help, and he was out in 11th place. Brandon Hall then went on a tear, calling Dylan Gang's bluff, sending him to the rail, and winning a race holding tens against Michael Cannon's ace-queen. Soon after, Ian O'Hara woke up with ace-queen and called Brandon Shane's all-in. Brandon's ace-jack was no match, and just like that, it was bye-bye Brandon.
It kind of sucks busting, but I think I played really well and no complaints.
With 7 players left and the TV table in sight, Steve Sarmiento shoved pre-flop, holding pocket nines. David Farah called with ace-10. The flop and turn looked great for Steve, but it was a rough river as David paired his 10 to win the pot.
Tournaments are fun if you win.
With Steve's elimination, the final 6 players bagged their chips and got ready to pack their bags and fly to Vegas, all in hope of becoming the next WPT champion. While the final 6 are getting settled, let's check in with our own masters of the muck, Vince Van Patten and Tony Dunst.
Hey, Lynn, yeah, this is going to be a great final table. Our chip leader at this point is David Farah. He's from New Jersey. He's been playing poker for a long, long time. Now, he's a former furniture store owner, and he sold his store a couple years back to spend more time with the family and play a little poker. Not necessarily in that order, but there he is. He's got a ton of chips. In second chip position is Brandon Hall, originally out of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. This is his 3rd WPT cash. He is very tough and hungry for this win.
All right, well, let me tell you about a couple pros on this table, Vince. First, we got Ian O'Hara, a young player out of Florida who's had a lot of success in the South Florida and East Coast area. When he's not playing poker, he is a power lifter. This guy throwing up iron 5 days a week. Another athletic East Coast pro on this table is Daniel Buzgon. He's made multiple WPT final tables. I feel like I play against him every time I'm at the Borgata. He is an excellent golf player. So Matt Savage already coming up with the hustle for him.
Also, we have Joseph de Rosa Rojas. He's from Venezuela, and he has a World Series bracelet under his belt, so he's got to be very good.
And lastly, we have Vinny Lima, who's got this wild backstory with World Series champion Scott Blumstein. They took this impromptu trip to the Borgata on short notice. Vinny, playing in just his 3rd WPT, has run all the way to the final table.
Tonight's winner will take home over $700,000, plus a set of Baccarat crystal flutes, a handsome Hublot Big Bang steel ceramic watch. Final prep on the felt is almost done. That means we are just moments away from shuffle up and deal.
The final table is a very tough bunch of players.
Ian O'Hara!
I feel very confident in my skill, and I'm just going to let the cards do what they do.
Brandon Hall!
I've played a lot of these WPTs, and I've kind of never really came all that close, so I feel like this is a good opportunity for me to finally get one.
Daniel Buzgon!
I have, I believe, one of the worst seats and the most to lose, and that combination doesn't really bode well for winning this, but it's poker. Anything can happen.
Vinny Lima!
To be honest, I didn't need too much to prepare. Playing a short stack on the final table isn't too hard. A lot of grinding, and hopefully I can take it down.
Let's hear it for Joseph de Rosa Rojas.
Si le puedo dar una alegría a mi país, ganando un título de WPT, dándoles una sonrisa y llenándolos de alegría, yo creo que eso para mí lo es todo.
David Farah!
I'm going to go out there to win it. If I take second, I'm going to be pissed. You know what I mean? I'm here to win it.
All right, let's take a look at the Zynga Poker chip count. David Farah is the chip leader with 19.9 million in chips. Short stack, Vinny Lima with about 3.5. Blinds are 75 and 150.
I'm not saying you're not going to knock me up. I'm going to try knocking you out right now.
Quick fold by Vinny Lima. And now Daniel Buzzgone picks up aces.
Daniel says he has the worst seat at this final table, but that won't matter much if he keeps picking up hands like these. Goes up to 350,000.
Yes, he does. David Farah. Now the chip leader goes out. Getting a lot of folds, and now it's around to Brandon Hall, who's in second chip position, and he is got an 8-4 diamonds, but he will call and stick around, hope to get lucky. Here's the flop, a big ace, jack 10, 3 of a kind for Daniel, but a 4 flush there for Brandon.
Huge flop for Daniel. Good flop for Brandon as well. These two players are second and third in chips right now, so you may see them be a little more risk averse than usual because they really don't want to play a big pot with some of these short stacks potentially going out before them.
Well, Daniel with a 3 of a kind is going to bet 350. Brandon sticks around with the 4 flush with a call.
Of course, if one of these guys ends up making what is essentially a nut hand, like say a turned flush, well, he might be willing to play a pretty big pot. That said, you know, Brandon has a flush here, and that's obviously a really good hand, but he's aware of the fact that there are bigger diamond combinations out there that Daniel could have. And Daniel, meanwhile, feels pretty good about his hand. He knows, obviously, that
850
flushes are possible for Brandon, but he's got the ace of diamonds, so he can either redraw to a better flush, or the board could pair and he'd make a full house, or hey, there's even one more ace in the deck.
And he's just going to call it. So we're going to the river. Oh, my goodness. Another diamond. And that, of course, gives Daniel the big flush. Incredible hand.
For Daniel, it must feel like this hand just keeps getting better every street. And now he's got the nuts on the river, so of course, he'd love to play a big pot now.
Brandon secretly has to be cursing that last diamond. Oh, and here's the bet. Let's see the amount. Oh, 1.4. Very frustrating for a guy like Brandon Hall to hit the flush on the turn. And now, tough to call to make. He's going to make a nice solid lay down.
Nice fold from Brandon there. Some guys turn the flush and get married to their hand despite it losing a lot of its strength on the 4th diamond river. Brandon, much too professional to think like that.
We are starting fast here at the final table. And we move on, a quick fold. David Farah, the chip leader, going out as well. And here's Joseph De Rosa Rojas.
Joseph has a hand that a lot of players would like to raise in his position, but he's one of the short stacks and would like to see what happens with Vinny Lima before he starts entering pots without really premium hands.
Well, Brandon with the button will make the raise with a king 8, makes it 350 to go. And the short stack, Vinny Lima, with an ace 10 behind him here.
Right, and this is what I was talking about. Vinny has a hand and a stack size that will likely result in an all-in, and Joseph would love to see him play this all-in for his tournament life and maybe go out.
Yeah, he's going to push it.
All in?
Like he should.
This is a well-played hand from Vinny here.
Off to a good start, boys.
So Vinny, the crowd favorite, will take that one down.
Yeah, short stack, but he's got his railbirds that flew out here to see him play.
Vinny brought a big crowd with him to this final table, so if he runs up a stack, we're going to hear about it. The action's on David Farah.
David's a poker pro. He used to be a furniture store owner. Now he's the chip leader and goes out. And there's De Rosa Rojas from Caracas, Venezuela, going away as well. Brandon, though, picking up kings. Look at that. Makes it 350 to go. Lima and Daniel fold their hands. And now Ian O'Hara with a jack 8 in the big blind.
Pretty decent hand to defend with and take a flop. So Ian up against Brandon and his overpair of kings.
The flop is an ace, queen, deuce. Ian gets none of that. He's going to check, but Brandon's got to be disturbed with that ace hit in the board.
Yeah, not an ideal flop for Brandon. This is a flop that he will check back very frequently, as he does.
Let's see what happens on the turn here.
And this board is so disconnected and favorable for the pre-flop raiser that I don't see Ian getting mixed up here or trying to bluff his way out of this one.
Yeah, Brandon's going to test the waters with his kings. He's from Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. Second chip position at this point, and he's going to take down this pot over Ian. So a lively group here.
Got one.
Did you know Club WPT has awarded over $1 million worth of VIP packages to its members?
Club WPT, great time.
Turn your poker dreams into reality at clubwpt.com, where you'll never lose a dime playing poker, guaranteed.
Welcome back to Las Vegas. We're at the WPT Borgata final table. Dave Farah out in front with close to $20 million in chips. Blinds are 75, 150. 6 players competing for this championship. Winner's going to take home close to $730,000. Action on Joseph De Rosa Rojas with Jack 9 of hearts. He won't play.
Yeah, I think he would raise that hand in normal circumstances, but at a final table where he's one of the middle stacks, he's going to play a little tighter. So nice fold, actually, and Brandon here will raise up a7 of diamonds to $300,000.
Yes, he does. Few folds around to Ian, who has a pair of 6s here.
Ian's in the small blind, which is awkward, and I'm a little surprised he'd fold, but I guess for the same reason that Joseph open folds Jack 9 suited, Ian folds the 6s to a raise, which is they're trying to minimize the likelihood that they play a pot that results in them getting knocked out before getting a chance to ladder up.
You know what? I'll jump in with you.
Now David Farah with Jack 7 in the big blind is going to make this call. 4-3 deuce, not much.
Get a leaning tower of Pisa flop there.
David's going to take a stab at this with a bet. Looks like 450. Brandon getting nothing on that flop.
Well, this isn't a very credible lead from David. When you're calling a raise, it's usually with at least medium strength cards. So when you try and rep the lowest cards in the deck, it's just not that plausible.
8 on the turn. Doesn't help David there either, but let's see if he continues to stab at a bluff.
Well, if he does follow through here, it might work because Brandon's hand is not improved. And he's got to be concerned that David maybe has something like a pair and a straight draw or a pair and a flush draw where Brandon could hit his hand on the river and either chop the pot or still lose.
David Farah, the former furniture store owner, dusts off the couch and makes another bet. Taking a stab, and it's going to work. Nicely done by David.
To be honest, I'm not a huge fan of that bluff, considering the board texture and David's cards, but it does show that aggression pays when you're the chip leader at a final table, and that David is picking some spots as to where to apply it.
Yeah, this is David's third WPT cash, all at Borgata. His wife's in the audience, bunch of friends. As we move on, Joseph this time with Jack 6 of hearts. He's from Venezuela. He goes out into Brandon, who has a beautiful pair of queens. He'll make it 350 with that hand. Into Vinny Lima, the short stack. Can't play a king 3. Daniel with king 4 also going out. So now it's around to Ian O'Hara, who has a pretty nice ace 9 of hearts.
Ian, on about 35 blinds, has a decision between raise and call.
He says he's a power lifter. He works out 5 times a week, lifting heavy weight. Huge sports fan.
All in.
And
well,
he's going to try to
some power poker, but I don't know if it's going to work for him.
He's pushed all in. Obviously, Brandon's got to make this call with queens, and he does so. They flip him up.
Ian O'Hara with about 5.8 million is all in up against Brandon Hall. He's sitting on 10 million, so this is a massive pot early in this final table, Vince.
Certainly is.
I'm sure this shove wins chips. I wonder with ICM factoring in whether this is what you want to do over a call, but Ian's a really sharp player, so I don't know. This seems close.
Well, the flop is a 5, 4, 3, 2 diamonds. No help there for Ian. Queens out in front. Going to the turn, 10 of diamonds doesn't help Ian.
He's in bad shape going to this river, needs an ace or a deuce. Otherwise, he's our 6th place finisher.
Yeah, he would be out of here. Ian needs luck. Not gonna happen.
River's a 9. Ian comes up a little short there. Pair of 9s, no good against Brandon Hall's pocket queens. He scores the first elimination of our final table.
Ian has to say goodnight. He's taking home $154,000. He's over to talk to Matt Savage.
Ian, what went wrong out there tonight?
Nothing went wrong. I just played my game and ran into a big hand.
So we have to say goodbye to Ian O'Hara, the first player to bust from tonight's final table. What does Philhelmut think about what we're seeing? The Raw deal is ready to roll right after this. So how does tonight's play stand up to the eagle eye of the poker brat? It's time to find out what Philhelmut thinks in this edition of the Raw Deal.
Making a World Poker Tour final table is not easy, and then making it heads up for a title takes good play, luck, and patience. With the final table just gearing up, it looks like Ian O'Hara is ignoring the patience part.
All in.
He relies totally on luck. 35 big blinds is way too much to risk with ace-9 suited, especially so early in this final table, and especially with 6 players left. Now let's talk about how many big blinds you should risk with ace-9 suited when you're 6-handed. Big blind versus cutoff. Maybe 10 big blinds? Some would say in this position, you could even risk 17 big blinds. But not me. I don't risk 17 big blinds, and I definitely don't risk 35 big blinds. Folks, when you're 6-handed, the standard move is to play super tight. As you know, I don't always agree with the standard move. But in this case, I agree. Because you have to give yourself a chance to move up the pay ladder. In this case, 6 is $155,000 and 3rd is $360,000, over twice as much. Sit on your chip 6-handed and give yourself a chance to have great things happen. If you risk all of your chips, then you can be the first one to bust. We like you, Ian, but bye-bye.
Yeah, I'm not really with Phil on this one. If you look at the payouts, you realize going from 6th to 3rd only doubles your money, whereas going from 6th to 1st gets you 5x your money. I think there's a really good reason for Ian to take risks early in this final table, and that he just happened to run into a hand.
Well, it didn't work out for Ian. He's out of here. We're down to 5. And this time it's on Vinny. He's got an ace-10 this time. Likes that. Gonna make it 475 to go.
Vinny working with about 30 blinds here.
See if he gets action. David Farrow with a pair of 6s. Chip leader, mid-pair.
David has been Mr. Aggression so far at this final table. And it looks like that will continue. And he's going to 3-bet his 6s up to 1.175 million. And Vinny will have an awkward decision here. I don't think ace-10 is a hand we typically want a 4-bet shove for 30 blinds, but that also depends how much you think David is screwing with you.
Yeah, Vinny getting that look.
All in.
That's what he's gonna do. He is shoved all in, and David with all the chips in the mid-pair, you gotta think he's gonna make this call. So there you go.
The problem with the ace-10 shove is you don't have enough to make David fold often. I think I might like it better if Vinny had slightly more. But instead, he's just going to play out a coin flip here with ace-10 up against David's 6s.
I thought you had ace-king. I thought you had ace-king.
Would you rather me have ace-king?
Right?
You said I had ace-king?
I thought you had ace-king.
I know you guys are cheering for me, so.
Yeah.
Vinny, very aware that his opponents want him out of here.
Here we go with the flop. It's a 10, king, 5. Vinny Lima out flopping. The chip leader hitting the 10s.
Both these guys very stoic as the board runs out.
9 of diamonds on the turn. Vinny just nodding his head, saying, gotta swap one more card. I'm a big favorite. Can this be? Let's go to the river.
It is a deuce, and that pair of 10s hold up. for Vinny Lima. He's going to double up here against Dave Farah, and you can hear how the crowd feels about that.
They're going crazy here at Esports Arena. We're coming back with more action on the World Poker Tour in just a moment. Stay with us.
George Kucheris beat out over 2,500 players to be a part of a WPT record-breaking field at Borgata in Atlantic City.
My name is George Kucheris. I'm from Newport News, Virginia. I got into poker when I was 8 or 9 years old, playing penny ante poker with my mother and my father. I joined Club WPT because it's a really good place to practice. It's a great site, and you have a chance to win great prizes. I constantly watched the TV show all the time. It was great meeting Tony. He gave me a little bit of advice. I remembered some of it, didn't remember all of it. I wish I had remembered all of it. I might have been able to play day 2. It was fun going out to dinner. It was one of the best steaks I've ever had. It's a top flight experience you'll have if you are lucky enough to win one of these packages when you play.
For your chance to win the poker experience of a lifetime, sign up for a VIP membership at clubwpt.com today, where you'll never lose a dime playing poker, guaranteed.
All right, back at the WPT Borgata final table here with David Farah barely out in front of Brandon Hall after losing an all-in against Vinny Lima.
Oh, sorry. It's not me.
Yeah, David Farah, 48 years old. And he is from Field, New Jersey. Plays the Borgata event all the time, the former furniture man. As the chip leader, Brandon Hall coming in second chip position with 16 million. As we continue 5-handed, we see a raise here by Brandon Hall with a 6-3. Let's see if he gets action with it. Daniel Buzz gone with King Queen.
Daniel is on a stack size where he's going to prefer to call over raise here. If he was really short, he could just move in over the top, but he's much too deep with Brandon right now for that, and I think he'll mostly call here.
This is his third WPT final table. He made 2 final tables in season 10, and he is back in a big way, and he makes the call. Here's the flop. It's an ace-7-4. Helps neither player.
And every time Daniel has made one of our final tables, I've come away thinking he played really well, thoughtful. And here he has king high on this ace-7-4 board, and he expects Brandon to continuation bet here very frequently, maybe even 100% of the time. So don't be surprised if Daniel refuses to give up despite just having undercards to the ace.
Brandon obviously not hitting, has an inside straight draw, that's it, but little does Daniel know that Brandon's not playing ace-9, ace-8, ace-king, queen, who knows? But you want to test him just once at least, makes this call. 4 pairs the board.
And that's actually a favorable card for Daniel's range. He's much more likely to have a 4 here than Brandon. And that should be concerning enough to slow Brandon down. As it does, he checks behind, and we see a 8 of spades river. So Daniel, hoping that his king-queen is good, doesn't have much incentive to bluff, whereas Brandon with 6 high knows he's never good and can only win by bluffing.
Of course, he slowed down on the turn. Do you take a stab and try to pick up this pot with 6 high? Or do you just let it go?
I would like the stab here. I think you can represent an ace that was being cautious about the 4 and check back on the turn. You can have a pair between the 8 and the ace that's betting for value, and so Brandon here sizes his bet correctly. Makes it look like he's got a medium strength hand, just trying to get one more call out of a 7 or something from Daniel.
He's going to try to earn this pot. And Daniel now in a quagmire. This would be an incredible call. If you could possibly do it, not many players are in this situation.
Yeah, Daniel would be correct this time if he called, but I don't think I would even like it. It would be optimistic to think king high is good there often enough that you should call and end up turning a profit. So Daniel got bluffed that time, but I like his fold, and I think he continues to play disciplined poker.
Blinds are up to 1 and 200 with a big blind ante of 200. Quick fold by Brandon and Vinny. And now Daniel with queen 9 of spades.
Gonna raise up this button to 450,000.
Do you know that Daniel Buzgun went to college and he started playing poker in college? And he has a bachelor in professional golf management. That's how much he loves golf.
I'm just surprised he finished college. He's right at that age where everybody dropped out to play poker, so good for him. And David here making quite a loose call from the small blind with king deuce suited. But he's been trying to mix it up with everyone at this table and push them around with his big stack, so looking for excuses to get involved. Not a big fan of this call, but we'll see if he can turn it into a profitable situation.
Flop is an ace, queen 10. Daniel hitting queens. So there you go, Daniel in front. Dave Farah hitting none of that.
Yeah, Daniel with second pair checks back. Hard to get value by betting there. Deuce on the turn will give David bottom pair and a gut shot. And he's really looked for any excuse to bet or raise thus far this final table, and he's found one. $675,000 is the bet from David over to Daniel. And Daniel did not check back this flop, intending to fold to one bet on the turn, unless maybe it was a king or a jack or something. So on the deuce, he's going to feel pretty good about calling here. And ideally, he'd like to see a blank river, or of course, a queen or a 9 to improve his hand.
Oh, a jack hits, giving David Farah a straight.
Very much not a blank.
Unreal. Quickly getting the chips out and putting in 1.8 million.
Yeah, that's a good observation, Vince. He acted very quickly there, and I question whether David would act so quickly and fluidly if he was uncertain in the strength of his hand, so something to keep an eye on going forward.
Yeah. Problem is you only have a queen, and he's got to lay that down, and David Farah makes things work right there. He extends his chip lead as the Railbirds love it.
Did you hire these people on break, Dave?
Experience the thrill of the WPT on your phone. Play the new WPT Tournament Center in Zynga Poker. Available on the App Store, Google Play, and Facebook.
This episode is sponsored by Baccarat Crystal, because everything tastes better in Baccarat. Hublot, the official watch of the World Poker Tour. Faded Spade, preferred playing card of the World Poker Tour. And Club WPT. Play poker for real cash and prizes today at clubwpt.com.
Welcome back to the WPT Borgata final table. As you can see, David Farah still our chip leader, barely edging out Brandon Hall, both at 17 million. We've got two players with medium stacks, around 40 blinds, Vinny Lima and Dan Buzgun, and then Joseph De Rosa Rojas is our short stack, around 20 blinds.
All right, a quick fold by Daniel Buzgun, and now David Farah, the chip leader, with ace-queen. Blinds are 1 and 200. And he's going to move it up to 450 total. Joseph from Caracas goes out, and now Brandon, ace-9 of clubs.
David and Brandon are our two chip leaders, and so Brandon doesn't have much reason to bloat this pot out of position with a 3-bet medium strength hand. He's just going to call. Vinny Lima, 9-5 in the big blind. Pretty junky. Gets out of the way.
All right, ace-queen versus ace-9. 10-8-3, 2 clubs.
Awesome flop for Brandon, of course. David cutting out a bet that I don't really like. David doesn't accomplish very much with this bet. The board hits Brandon's small blind calling range pretty well. He doesn't have a club or any kind of meaningful backdoor draw outside of Broadway. I don't think he gets better hands to fold. I don't think he gets worse hands to call. So David with a ambitious bet on the flop.
Wow, Brandon hitting his flush, and he's going to check it beautifully.
Well, I've been wondering whether David has a brake pedal when he starts putting chips in the pot. This would be a really bad card to barrel. There we go. Nice check.
And the river card, a 0-5.
Now I think Brandon should not only bet, but bet big and hope that David somehow has an overpair that made a cautious turn check, but will be stuck paying off on the river. And as we can see, David with ace high doesn't have a lot of reason to try and hero this river. But again, I like the bet sizing that Brandon has chose here, and he has played an excellent final table so far.
All right, he won't get the action there. David wisely folds. Brandon taking that one down. Nicely done by Brandon Hall. He is 30 years old. Third WPT cash.
Well, David takes a minor setback there, and we'll have to give up the chip lead for just a moment to Brandon Hall. Action with Joseph here. Not going to play. Brandon out. Now Vinny in the small blind. He and Dan Buzzigan are our medium stacks with about 40 blinds each. And when you are 40 blinds deep in the small blind, you often start by limping. And I like that play from Vinny. Check from Dan with a jack-deuce suited. Will bring us to a king-4-deuce flop. So, pretty good board for Vinny. On a board where Daniel will expect him to bet pretty frequently, and with bottom pair, I think Daniel will have to continue.
Man, the bet's 225. And Daniel will make this call with his deuces, keep him honest. We're going to the turn. And it's another king, so just beautiful card for Vinny Lima.
Disaster for Dan, too, because that king makes it much less likely that Vinny has a king and was value betting on the flop, and adds draws that he can be semi-bluffing with on this turn. So if I'm Daniel, I'm not ready to fold in his shoes.
And like you said, this is very callable. And he is going to do so. You're going to the river.
And I like this call from Daniel. We're, again, staring at an opponent who has a now massive hand. He has 4 of a kind on the river. And again, that's a terrible card from Daniel. Now, it's even less likely that Vinny has the king he's been representing all along. And there are probably way more combos of, say, hearts or 5-6 or, 5-3 that he turns into a bluff than there are kings in his range.
Taking more time. Reverse psychology move, of course. He's got the nuts.
And if I'm Vinny, I go really, really big because the hands I'm betting are a king or a bluff, which means you're very polarized. And when that's the case, you want to go with a really large bet sizing. So job well done from Vinny here. He bets 2.5 million into 2 million. And that is going to put Dan in an awkward spot.
He's just thinking that this guy's stealing it. No, I'm going to go out, and that's a nice fold.
Yeah, he's going to fold and be right instead.
Vinny Lima came in as the short stack, and they're rooting him on here.
Well, that marks the end of tonight's coverage of the WPT Borgata. Join us next time as the competition continues here on the World Poker Tour.
These guys got my shot. Got this. If I get the card, prepare for this day. One time. Breathe.
You never know when your time is going to come. To rise above the rest. To seize the opportunity. To be crowned a champion. Is it time for your story to be told? The World Poker Tour.
The HyperX Esports Arena, Las Vegas. This state-of-the-art gaming facility has transformed into a poker paradise. Hi everyone, I'm Lynn Gilmartin and this is the WPT. We are in the middle of another fantastic final table. This event started at the East Coast's magnificent Borgata. The final table players traveled here to Vegas to fight for their piece of the $4.5 million prize pool.
This is going to be a great final table. Our chip leader at this point is David Farah.
I'm not saying you're not going to knock me up. I'm going to try knocking you out right now.
David's going to take a stab at this with a bet, and it's going to work. On.
That's some power poker, but I don't know if it's going to work for him.
Ian needs luck. Not going to happen.
Ian comes up a little short there. It's Brandon Hall, pocket queens. He scores the first elimination of our final table.
Got one. I know you guys are cheering for me, so.
Very aware that his opponents want him out of here.
It's a 10, King 5. Vinny Lima out flopping the chip leader.
Job well done from Vinny here.
And that's a nice fold. Vinny Lima came in as the short stack, and they're rooting him on here. 5 players remain. He is looking good.
Along with the cash, tonight's WPT champion will also score a set of Baccarat crystal flutes because everything tastes better in Baccarat, and a spectacular Hublot Big Bang Steel ceramic watch. As always, I'm joined by our own in-house winners, Vince Van Patten and Tony Dunn. Cards are back in play, so let's get down to the felt.
All right, thanks, Lynn. Here's a look at our Zynga Poker leaderboard. Brandon Hall out in front right now. David Farah trying to chase him down. Our medium stacks are Vinny Lima and Dan Busgan. And Joseph De Rosa Rojas is our short stack.
Blinds are 1 and 200 with a 200,000 big blind ante. Here we go. It's Brandon Hall. He's got King 9 of diamonds, and he is going to raise it to 400,000 to go. A couple folds around the horn to David Farah, who started out as the chip leader at the final table.
Oh, David has looked for any excuse to be aggressive at this final table, and that's mostly worked for him, but 3-betting this 7-6 offsuit out of the small blind for a small size is not going to be a winning play. This is the wrong hand and the wrong sizing and the wrong opponent. Everything's wrong.
Well, we will see. He is raised with 6-7 to 1.1 million. And now Brandon Hall coming back over the top. Doesn't believe Farah.
Wow, I didn't even realize how much this was the wrong opponent. Brandon, not tolerating this, knows how David is playing, fires in the 4-bet with King 9 suited and takes it down.
Now Brandon Hall, poker pro out of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. He's 30 years old. His 3rd WPT cash. His dad taught him how to play poker when he was a kid. That's family values for you.
My dad taught me how to play poker too, so I appreciate that.
Me too.
Yeah.
My father taught me at age 2. Put the cards in the crib.
Age 2?
And David Farah is going to squeeze a King 7. David Farah is a poker pro, a former furniture store owner. He's from Fairfield, New Jersey. He's 48 years old, and he will make this call. Here is the flop. It's a 10-6-4. Neither player hitting.
Not a terrible flop for David, though. He has the King High Heart. He's got 3 to a straight, but the turn is a pretty bad card for him. However, a decent one for him to represent. It's much more likely that David has a 6 here than Vinny.
David is going to bet this. Wow.
And you see there that Vinny...
Auto call.
With a quick call holding just ace high.
5 on the river.
Well, not a terrible card for David to bluff here. He doesn't believe his King High is good. Seems to believe he needs to bet in order to win.
Well, he's going to make a nice bet. Close to 1.5 million with nothing. And Vinny with just an ace-jack. This would
very tough and optimistic call from Vinny.
Oh,
whoa.
Boy. He's doing it.
Wow.
Just a beautiful call with ace-high. And these guys are starting to read David Farah.
David's going to need to be careful that the wheels don't come off here. That's back-to-back hands where he's put in money that he didn't have to as a bluff and got kind of schooled by his opponents. So we'll see if he keeps it together.
90% of the players are going to fold with that ace-jack. It's just a brilliant call. So you listen. I like this guy's creativity, and I like his guts. And this time, he's got king queen. It's not going the right way for him now, but.
Yeah, I actually don't mind anything about the way he played that last hand. We'll just see whether losing affects him emotionally.
This time he's got a pretty decent king queen, and he has raised it to 475. And let's see if he gets action with it. Daniel Buzgon, poker pro out of Malton, New Jersey, and this is his 3rd time on the World Poker Tour final table. He's a tough professional player. He's going to make this call.
Dan always plays very tough and disciplined poker. And he gets an interesting flop here. 8-7-5, 2 spades and a club. So overcards and a flush draw for David, top pair and a gut shot for Dan.
Yeah, Daniel's going to check it, hitting top pair. And David with the 4 flush, continuation bet of 675. And Daniel's not going anywhere. He's going to make this call with the top pair. Okay, the pot is getting big. Going to the turn. It's a queen that's going to hit David Farrow with queens.
That is a dangerous card for Dan because it adds a bunch of draws to the board that he will expect David to double barrel with, especially someone as aggressive as David. And so with this much hand, 2nd pair and a gut shot, I don't see how Daniel gets away.
No, David, beautiful card on the turn, bets 1.2 million. Daniel's an ATM machine at this point, making this call.
He'll need to improve to win this hand, otherwise he's going to get wrecked.
Let's see the river card. It's a 6! Daniel hits a straight.
Great card. Against a passive player, you could consider leading out. Against David Farah, I think Dan will check, and that's a nice check there. And a good check back from David, too.
Yeah.
4.
Wow. Good hand.
No, good hand by David there, and a good hand by Dan.
It has been a long time since I final tabled.
Now it's on Daniel again with a very good king, queen of hearts.
Mullen. Poker has changed night and day. It's not as wild as it used to be. You don't see as many, blow-ups as you could have back then. It's becoming definitely a more finesse game instead of a wild, crazy, I think you're bluffing, so I'm gonna bluff. You kind of just pick your spots a little bit better now. When I'm not playing poker, I'm a big golfer, so it's usually at the golf course. It's just a great compliment to poker. Poker, you're inside all day, and you kind of want to get outside sometimes. Oh man, my golf game compared to my poker game, I think I'm better at golf, just because I think more golf than poker, but I feel like I'm decent at both.
Well, I think Dan is an excellent poker player, so his golf game must be something fierce. Watch out, Matt Savage.
Bet he breaks 90.
Is that good?
Oh, you don't know golf.
I know golf a little, but...
The buzz is definitely not gone for this man.
I knew you were going to make that joke.
I know.
I knew at the start you were going to make that joke.
That's so bad, too. I admit it. It's awful. But I'm sorry. I had to say it. Okay, we move on. Folds, and now it's on Daniel Buzgon. He's a talented professional, and man, you're right. I mean, he must be really tough in golf.
Absolutely. Because whenever I watch him play poker, I think, hey, Dan's playing great again, composed and disciplined. David here. I would rather see him 3-bet this ace-jack than that 7-6 we saw earlier, but instead, Dave's going to go with a call, and don't get me wrong, calling a good option, too, out of the small blind.
He doesn't do what you expect, and I like that about him.
Well, then you don't like my poker game, Vince.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're a little sensitive today.
How dare you? Find yourself another commentator.
All right, the flop is a queen 5 deuce. So many ways to play poker. That's the beauty of it.
There really is. And you know what? The more I study, the more I realize that...
The worse you get?
The worse I get. The more I realize that what a machine would have you do is called a mixed approach. It really does. It wants you to mix up what you do in so many of these situations. And so when someone says, you have to do this, that's often just not true.
Don't go back to that machine thing, all right?
You don't want to hear about the solver, Vince?
No.
Well, Daniel's bet
we don't
$500,000.
need a stinking solver.
I know that quote. Daniel's bet $500,000. We'll see if David gets his badge out here. Yeah, he's going to play sheriff a little bit. Oh, he's going to play more than sheriff. He's check raising to $1.5 million.
He is relentless. got to admire the guts. David Farah just plunging away, and this time it's going to work out nicely. With just ace-jack.
Well, he said he's unpredictable.
Former furniture store owner, you know, that seems like a relaxing life. You know, you're saying, hey, would you like to sit down on the sofa? Would you
Step
like to
into
buy-"
my office
Yes.
as he reclines.
Yeah. Their blinds are going up to 125, 250 with a 250,000 big blind ante. And it's on Vinny Lima. Things are going right for this guy tonight. He's got ace-10, and he'll make it 525 to go. Daniel going out. David Farah has a lot of bluff in him. A lot of heart in his poker game. Sometimes it backfires, sometimes it doesn't.
And what is he doing? This is Jack Deuce suited. You're not in one of the blinds. There's just no reason at all to get involved with this hand, to play
On a
this
rush.
hand.
Doyle Brunson said when things are going good, play anything because things sometimes turn out better.
Yeah.
Whoa, ace, ace, queen.
Wow.
2 players hitting 3 of a kind.
Check.
A little
Check.
surprised by Vinny's check there.
David with the 4 flush. So
Surprised by everyone's check, really.
Now a jack hits. That gives Dave Farah jacks with his 4 flush, and the other guys trips. This is a pretty amazing hand here.
Well, Brandon, gonna bet here. He has to be at least a little concerned about his opponents having, you know, queens or jacks or a king 10 or, in Vinny's case, an ace. As it turns out he does have, but for the most part, he needs to be betting his hand here, and he does. And he gets 2 calls, so that will set off some alarm bells.
What's going to be the river card? It's a king of spades here.
What a life.
So a flush for Farah. The other guys don't fill up.
Vinny makes a straight, so he probably thinks his hand is good, and he blocks all the full houses. Ugh. What did I just watch?
Maybe he thinks he wouldn't have gotten called. He plays it more conservative.
Don't get me wrong, paired board, there's aces out there, but I just don't see Vinny checking a full house on that river. You gotta bet it.
He does the unexpected. That's Dave Farah. He takes down that pot. We're coming back. Stay with us. Hey, Tony, we're about to roll. Put the dating app away, okay?
What? No, I'm playing on Club WPT, and I'm on a heater.
Sure you are. ClubWPT.com. Play online or on mobile, but never lose time playing poker. Guaranteed.
You know, the strength in my game is I'm not scared.
Come on, let's gamble, bro.
If somebody comes at me, I'm gonna go right back at them. That's just my personality.
You've been bluffing for the past hour. Let's go.
Listen, everybody knows how to play this game.
Oh! Woo!
You have to use your head. These younger generation kids just took it to a whole different level, so it's really hard. Some people, they start playing cards or whatever they do in life, and they just get it. And I wasn't that guy that gets it. And my kids, you know, just because they don't get something now doesn't mean if you keep on working and working and working that you won't get it. I want to win this to show to them that you keep on working hard, and you keep on pushing, and you keep on going, and you know what? You could get good, and you could be successful. And just because it doesn't happen right away doesn't mean it won't happen.
Yeah, the former furniture store owner can play quite a game of poker, as you can see tonight. And he's been playing poker for 25 years. He sold the furniture store to spend more time with the family and also to play a little more poker.
I like that Dave plays to win, too. And he came in with that intention. Talked about how important and meaningful it would be to him if he won a WPT title. So, yeah, he's playing more splashy and aggressive than his opponents, but he doesn't really care about laddering up. He's trying to win.
I'm gonna say 5.
Look at this. Dave Farah is going to call this with 5-3, so Dave going to slop around, hope to get lucky. And the flop is at ace-king 4. So aces for Brandon Hall, the raiser.
And David here with the gut shot to the deuce should continue. I think you mostly want to call here. Some people like to mix in a check raise, but it's hard to represent the strongest hands when you're just calling out of the big blind on ace-king 4.
7 of diamonds on the turn, so Brandon now with the 4 flush and aces.
It's an interesting turn card. Not only does it improve Brandon, of course, but David picks up additional outs to the 6. So we know a deuce or 6 of diamonds would spell disaster for him. But he doesn't know that and believes he has a clean 8 outs going to the river. He'll make that call of the 750,000 chip bet. And we see an ace on the river, and that should end the hand for David. Looks like he's going to try and bluff here, which isn't a very credible line, but I will say if you're going to turn one hand into a bluff here, 5 high with no diamond is about as good as it gets. Every now and then your opponent's going to have a diamond draw or a Broadway straight draw that missed and will be forced to fold this river, but the problem is nobody actually bets this river when they have it as a lead. So if you do this against a thinking player, they are going to destroy you by just bluff raising.
Well, Brandon taking more time with his trips. And now he's going to put in a raise to 3.5.
No need for Brandon to bluff here with trip aces, making a very nice, thin value raise up against an opponent he knows likes to put too many chips in the pot.
Very interesting. David backfiring there. Finally gets out of the way. He'll give that up. Brandon Hall with a big one there. This is Brandon's 3rd WPT cash. He's made over 1.4 million in tournament winnings. Pretty impressive.
And he's playing great tonight. Plus things are falling his way so far, so he looks like the man to beat at the moment. Definitely has the stack that makes him the man to beat, and he will start with a limp here in the small blind, holding King 9 against Vinny Lima.
Yeah, Vinny with the 7-4. Says, okay, let's see the flop, and the flop is at 8-5-3.
Well, these raggy boards are often a little better for the big blind holding 2 random cards than the small blind who elected to put money in the pot. But Brandon's going to fire out here, and he has a reasonable hand to bet here. He's got 2 overcards, backdoor flush, and straight draw. Vinny, with his straight draw, holding 7-4, will make the call and turn a pair. Nice check from Brandon. Vinny will check as well.
All right, last card, 7 of clubs.
And I like this bluff Brandon is about to make. He's got a very relevant blocker with the 9 of clubs. His king high is never winning at showdown, and maybe he can get Vinny to fold some weird small pair that got to this river, but instead he's got 2 pairs, so a pretty quick call.
Yeah, how do you like that bet now?
I still like it.
Okay, look at this. The Lima crowd on the rail. He is coming back in a big way.
It takes smart play, great timing, and good luck to become a WPT champion. So who stands out in Phil Hellmuth's eyes at this final table? The raw deal is right around the corner. Is the poker we're seeing tonight the best, or is it a bust? Maybe it's a little bit of both. Let's find out what Phil Hellmuth thinks in the raw deal.
Hello, folks. There's a new trend in the poker world. Almost every great player is defending their big blind, and we are doing it well over 50% of the time. You heard me right. Tons of great players are calling raises when they're in the big blind with nothing, nada. Well, I must admit that I defend a lot in the big blind as well, but only because I trust my reading abilities. In David's case, sitting with the old 5-3 offsuit, it's a lot different. That hand is so bad that even I would have to fold. I mean, David is second in chips, 5-handed at a World Poker Tour final table. In this spot, I'm not looking to force the action. I'm not going to make my opponent's task any easier. I'm going to play solid and let the other players force the action. I'm going to play solid and make them come after me. And in the meantime, perhaps 1 or 2 players will bust, and I'll move up $158,000 in guaranteed money. Yum, yum. But David is not me. He chose to force the action and take a flop. What happens? He flops an inside straight draw, so now I can't blame him for calling $400,000. On the turn, the 7 of diamonds. Boom! A bad card for David. The 7 of diamonds gives him a double belly buster straight draw. He needs a 6 he needs a deuce. But unbeknownst to him, it gives his opponent the nut flush draw. This card made David call another bet. Bye-bye, more chips. Then the river hits, giving David nothing. I hate David's bet. I mean, now he's trying to represent that he has a hand? Really? Given the action and the board, there's very little chance this bluff is going to work. And in the end, that's the problem with the old 5-3 offsuit. Most times you end up making only 5 high.
Well, I absolutely agree with Phil here. You really don't want to go out of your way to play pots with the chip leader when you're second in chips at the final table. And that 5-3 call was pretty optimistic to begin with.
Dave Farah, a lot of versatility, a lot of guts, and this time he's going to look down at a 5-3 of clubs.
What did I say about 5-3? Did I say you should raise it when you're first to act? No, I didn't!
Yeah, there he goes. Love his style. He's making it 5-50 to go. And Joseph right behind him with a queen-jack.
Joseph has been very patient on his short stack, maybe thinking about moving in over David, but lets it go instead.
Brandon as well goes out, and now Vinny Lima with a nothing queen 3 won't play. Into Daniel. 10-6 of hearts. It's in the big blind. And he's going to protect it with a call. So here they go again, 5-3 versus 10-6. Who will get lucky? Wow, queen 8-7, 2 hearts, so good flop there for Daniel.
Yeah, flush draw plus a gut shot. David with just nothing, 5 high. I'm not sure he should even continuation bet very much here on this texture, but he is not much of the checking type.
We'll make a bet of 675.
Dan will make the call there. I think they are a little too deep to check raise and just go for it, but it wouldn't have been crazy if he went that route. And a 7 of diamonds on the turn is actually a decent card for Dan to lead. He's going to have a lot more 7s in his range than David does, and so it's quite plausible that he would lead out with 1 on this draw-heavy board. So I like the line that Dan is taking here, and David just has a 5 high, no pair, no draw, no nothing. And that should shrink up pretty quick here. And yet he is reaching for chips, and oh my god, he has made it 2.3 million. Well, what a spot for Dan, and what a suicide raise from David. I mean, this could work, but oh man, if you make a habit of putting in money with 5 high, no draw on the turn.
Look at this, it is going to work, and he's going to show the... Wow. He's taking the salt shaker out and putting it into the wound as he shows the bluff.
5-3. 5-3. Nothing. Nothing.
What in the... Oh boy.
Wow. Pretty incredible. This Dave Farah is fearless at this table tonight.
Especially since he would lead his 7s there. It's not like he's only leading with his draws. He would lead his 7s, so a lot of the time, David just blows up into Dan's trips there, but this time, he gets away with it.
Phil Hellmuth is turning over in his ego. Oh, and now, look at this. Joseph has ace-10.
Down to his last 9 blinds.
Mole.
And he has shoved it.
And Brandon might call this. You know, 9 blind shoves out of the small blind are going to be really, really loose. You're getting a decent price. I think this is about the worst hand you might call.
Yeah, he's going to call it.
I like it.
There's a chance to knock out Joseph de Rosa Rojas from Venezuela.
Good luck.
Thank you. The obligatory good luck, that means nothing. 5 cards to come. 7 deuce deuce, so actually Joseph in front with his ace-10.
Pretty good flop for Joseph. Still just trying to avoid those 6 outs.
4. So there you go, he's looking good.
Great shape going to the river, 1 more card to dodge.
Brandon The chip leader would love to hit lucky here, but it's not going to be. King on the river. Joseph going to double up. He's been very patient.
Patience pays off. We'll see if he can open his game up now that he's got some chips to work with.
I'm joined by Dan Wommeldorf, one of our Club WPT VIP members. Now, Dan, I heard that you won a seat to the WPT 500. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I was so thrilled. What could I say?
I bet. It's a great event. You are here from Las Vegas, and you have access to unlimited casinos. So what made you decide to sign up to Club WPT?
As opposed to being in a live game, there's so many distractions at the table. On Club WPT, you can concentrate on your game. There's nothing to get in your way, and it's a much more pleasant experience for me.
And now here you are, having a VIP experience at the HyperX Esports Arena. You're watching some final tables. How has this been?
It's been great. The people, the staff, the atmosphere is fantastic. And the poker, you're glued to your seats. I mean, every card could be $1 million card.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I'm looking forward to seeing you at the WPT 500 at Aria.
Thank you, Lynn. I'll hope to go very deep in that tournament.
I hope you do too. Good luck.
Thank you.
Being a Club WPT VIP member sure does have its perks. Sign up today at clubwpt.com, and maybe we'll see you at the next final table.
Well, with that double up, Joseph De Rosa Rojas is back in the mix here at 4.7 million, even though he is still our short stack. Brandon Hall, after a minor setback, remains in the lead. This tournament started with over 1,400 entries at the Borgata in Atlantic City, one of my favorite places to play. At 6 players, the action was paused, and we resumed here at the HyperX Esports Arena in Las Vegas. Now just 5 of those players remain, duking it out for a WPT title, and over $700,000 up top.
Well, this time Dave Farah getting crazy with his queen 3 of spades, has raised it. De Rosa behind him with a queen 10 of diamonds.
And De Rosa's still under 20 blinds, so I think he should move in here with all of his suited broadways, especially against Dave, who opens way too many hands, but he likes to call instead, so he'll be in position here going to the flop.
All right. Queen 10 versus queen 3. And the flop is an ace 5 deuce. There's 2 diamonds, though. So good for Joseph.
Yeah, huge flop for Joseph here. David with a gut shot. He's going to fire at this. He's betting big in a spot where I think you should really size down. You can use a small bet here, and that will usually fold out Joe when he doesn't have anything. But he's got a flush draw, so he's going to call this bet.
Wow.
Queen of clubs on the turn.
Gives them both queens now. Rosa with the better kicker and a 4 flush.
Molly.
Oh, there you go.
Not a big fan of this all-in from Joseph. He essentially has a hand with showdown value that also could improve to a nut hand. He's never going to get David to fold an ace. He doesn't really need to be concerned about being drawn out on the river. Like, if David had clubs, he would bet himself. If he's got king 10 and happens to river you, well, good for him. Half the time it's going to be a diamond and you mess him up anyway.
Yeah, me beat.
Yes, he does.
Es para mí un orgullo no solo jugar por el dinero, sino jugar por poder levantar la bandera y poner mi bandera en alto y darle una alegría a la gente. Eso es algo que incentiva y motiva mucho. Cuando pones el corazón en lo que haces y confías en tu juego, desarrollas, estudias, aprendes, creo que puedes lograr grandes cosas.
Joseph De Rosa Rojas from Caracas, Venezuela. 36 years old, first ever WPT cash. But he's got a World Series bracelet to his name, so he can play. As we move on. Now it's on Vinny Lima. He's got king, jack of diamonds. Gotta like that. He'll raise it to 525. Now it's on David. King 9, and he will make this call.
Yeah, David continues to play too many hands out of the small blind. King 9 offsuit is really not the type of hand we want to look for reasons to play out of position.
Well, he's behind at this point, but no longer as a 10-9-4 hits the board. David picking up nines.
Great flop for David. Okay flop for Vinny with the overcards and gut shot. I like his check there.
Yeah, check, check. 8 on the turn.
So open ender for Vinny, but second pair for David still good, and he will bet 650,000. And Vinny knows not to fold very much to David. So a pot of nearly 3 million going to the river, and it's a king. Wow. And that is a big card for David. If I'm David here, I bet big. There's all these missed draws out there. That king could potentially connect with my opponent. I'm not a fan of this little bet size that he's elected to use, which I guess might be good for getting called from a 10 or a 9 or something, but I think there's a missed opportunity there to get more value on the river for David, especially when you have such a blocky image.
I bet 1.1. He's going to pick that up. His family and friends loving it. Hey, WPT fans, have you checked out Zynga Poker?
With a variety of options for play and millions of users competing around the clock, Zynga Poker is the world's leading poker game.
That's right, Tony. Zynga Poker is available on the App Store, Google Play, and Facebook. So what are you waiting for? Check out Zynga Poker today.
We are back at the WPT Borgata final table where David Farah is currently back in front, just ahead of Brandon Hall. Vinny Lima and Dan Busgen trailing behind, and Joseph De Rosa Rojas is our short stack.
That's right. The blinds are going up to 150 and 300,000. Big blind Andy's 300,000 as well. Dave Farah quickly folds his hand. Now Joseph with a 9-10 of spades.
Joseph has 16 blinds here, so just moving all in is certainly an option. To make a smaller raise. I typically lean all in. 10-9 of spades kind of likes to see 5 cards, but this raise works too. So 700,000 from Joseph over to Dan in the big blind, and he's got a Jack-8.
And he will defend it. Get to look at a flop with Jack-8 up against 9-10 of spades. Here we go at the flop. It's a 6-5 deuce. Helps neither player.
Yeah, and Joseph here making a nice check. It's tough to represent these really low boards as the pre-flop raiser on a short stack. And fortunate to turn a 9, because that is a board that Daniel may try and represent as it hits his big blind defend range quite well. And Joseph's hand is pretty well disguised, since he would bet most of his overpairs to the board on the flop. And for the most part, his pre-flop raising range contains Broadway cards and not many 9s.
Well, he's bet 750 and has been called, of course. And 3 of diamonds on the river.
And I like this bluff from Daniel. He can have all the strong hands. He can have a 4 for a straight. He can have the 7-8. He's got a blocker to 7-8. He can't win with Jack high.
Whoa, $2.5 million bet by Daniel, been called. And that's going to switch these guys around in chips just like that.
Tough hand for Dan there. And for the most part, the flop goes check, check. The turn is a brick, and Dan's bet will work. Or maybe the turn is an overcard and Dan check folds, but on that particular run out, he's going to lose some money bluffing. And a nice hand by Joseph.
Now Daniel's on the short stack. Joseph on the rebound, but on this hand, Vinny Lima with a king 10 of clubs has made it 775 to go. It's around to Joseph. He's got king 10 as well. And he's going to lay that down. Brandon on the big blind has a jack 7 of diamonds. It's piqued his interest. He's going to call it. We're going to see a flop. Flop is a king 5-4, 2 diamonds.
Interesting flop. Top pair for Vinny. A flush draw and a backdoor straight draw for Brandon.
So Vinny kind of swing away, 775. Brandon here with a 4 flush.
Brandon has mostly played his draws passively, but I like that he's chosen this one to check raise. Because Vinny's going to continuation bet this flop really frequently, with a lot of hands that miss.
Vinny's gonna buy a little more time.
And a lot of players just don't adjust to check raises very well. Vinny, with top pair, will make this call.
Yeah, good call. A queen on the turn, no diamond there for Brandon.
I like this check from Brandon too. After getting called on the flop, Vinny's likely to be strong or have backdoor hearts with Broadway, and that queen of hearts would improve him.
Look at this, 6 of diamonds. Brandon hitting his flush on the river.
That's the card you wanted. Now it's a question of how much do you bet?
Well, it's going to put in 3.4 million, and Vinny Lima, who's done everything right so far tonight, coming in from the short stack, making great decisions, makes the wrong one here.
Yeah.
Can't blame him, but he's paid him off. That's going to sting.
I understand Vinny's reluctance to commit his stack on the turn, but I think it might just be the best play on such a draw-heavy board when you want to deny your opponent the chance to realize his equity when he's got draws. So a small misstep from Vinny, but overall I think he's playing really well, and hopefully that didn't knock his confidence.
And we move on. Now Brandon with an ace deuce of clubs. He's got about 23 million in chips.
All in.
All in.
And he's just going to say all in to you.
Yeah, that's a good shove. Both the blinds are pretty short.
All in. But Vinny's got a quality hand, ace jack of diamonds. He's made this call, and he's in front.
And this hand essentially playing itself. Brandon with the good shove on the button.
Good, man. The jack or the deuce?
The deuce.
Turn, river, window.
You can do like deuce of diamonds. How's that?
With 3 other diamonds?
No, maybe one other.
Vinny and his crowd of enthusiastic supporters really want to see some diamonds or a jack.
Yes, they do. They'd love to double up. Here's the flop. It's a king, queen, 4.
Not a terrible flop for Brandon. Backdoor clubs, backdoor wheel draw, the deuce.
5 of clubs for a slut?
Sure.
I don't want that.
And there it is. Oh, that is a spicy card. So extra outs to the 3 not of diamonds, and a deuce not of diamonds would be good as well.
And Vinny's hand hold up.
Let's go to a river.
Yes, it does. 9 of diamonds. Vinny hits the flush. Yes, indeed. That's going to even up everything. Everyone's got chips. We're coming back with more action here on the World Poker Tour. Stay with us. This episode is sponsored by Baccarat Crystal. Does everything taste better in Baccarat? U-Blow, the official watch of the World Poker Tour. Faded Spade, the preferred playing card of the World Poker Tour. And Club WPT. Play poker for real cash and prizes today at clubwpt.com.
Welcome back to the WPT Borgata final table. As you can see, Brandon Hall out in front with Dave Farah closely trailing, and our next 3 players, Vinny, Dan, and Joseph, all within 1 million of chips at each other, between 7 and 8 million.
And we go down to the money pit. Brandon with a quick fold. Vinny Lima with a nothing hand. And now Daniel Buzzgone with an ace-4 spades.
Good hand to find on the button.
Man says he is a better golfer than he is a poker player. Guy should be on the tour if that's the case.
He's played a great final table thus far, but the major pots he's played, he's been on the wrong side of. He's had some bluffs not go his way. He's made some second-best hands where he had to pay off.
Well, this time he's made it 700,000 to go. Joseph here with an 8-6 is going to defend. We're going to see a flop. Flop is a king 10-8. So Joseph hitting 8s there.
Daniel checking back, a pretty ugly board for his hand.
Turn is a 7 of clubs. Now there's 3 clubs out there.
And Joseph still a little too weak to bet here.
Yeah, neither player has a club. They both go check, check. Down to the river we go. It's a 9.
Well, now a straight for Joseph, and it might be time to fire out a bet. Nope, he's just going to try and induce a bluff from Daniel. And this may work. I mean, Daniel with his ace-high thinks he's not likely to be good at showdown, that he can represent a jack.
Yeah, he's betting 1.1 million.
And Joseph, I imagine, will shrug and call. He's like, okay, you got a jack, good for you.
Yeah.
I got a 6. And Daniel, yet again, makes a good bluff that does not work out because his opponent has the hand.
That's it. Joseph De Rosa Rojas going to take that one down. Yeah, the blinds are now going up again, Tony, to 2 and 400,000 with the big blind Andy of 400,000. It's getting expensive, and look at this Daniel Buzzgone with a little pair of 5s.
Yeah, and with the blinds increasing, he only has 13 blinds here, so he might just go for it all.
All in.
There you go. Daniel, the only player at this final table who has made another final table. This is his 3rd. And does he just want to take it right now? Let's see if anybody can stick around with him. Joseph can't. And now it's on to Brandon. And he's got an ace-8 here. He might. Brandon is the chip leader with close to 18 million. He can afford to make this call.
It's a very borderline hand. I wouldn't blame him either way he went. And he'll call.
Yes, he is.
So we will play a coin flip for Dan Buzzgon's tournament life. He's fortunate that one of the 8s was folded by Joseph, so he's in slightly better shape than usual there.
Good luck, Buzz.
And it's an ace-jack-jack.
It's going to be tough to win this. Jack, Jack. Jack.
Jack, Jack will be a fun one.
Exactly.
Oh! 5 on the turn for Daniel! Takes the lead in this hand.
No,
Brandon now drawing to an ace or a jack to knock out Dan. Otherwise, he's doubling up and right back in the thick of things.
4.
Let's see if anything crazy happens here.
You bury Dan. 4.
No, it's a 6 of clubs.
Daniel with the big double up here, going to be above 11 million now. Puts a nice dent in Brandon Hall's stack.
This game is so stupid.
Nothing sure in poker. Daniel loving that moment.
With that hand, we'll pause tonight's coverage of WPT Borgata. But we're not finished. Join us next time for more exciting poker action. See you then on the WPT.
I can outplay these guys. Got my shot. Got this. If I get the card, I prepare for this day. One time. Breathe.
You never know when your time is going to come. To rise above the rest. To seize the opportunity. To be crowned a champion. Is it time for your story to be told? The World Poker Tour.
Fame, fortune, and a whole lot of cash are up for grabs tonight as the final table for WPT Borgata continues. Hi everyone, I'm Lynn Gilmartin and this is the WPT. So far, our final table has seen plenty of action.
But I don't know if it's going to work for him.
Not going to happen.
Ian comes up a little short there.
Whoa, he's doing it.
Wow.
Beautiful call with ace high.
David's going to need to be careful that the wheels don't come off.
Wow. Good hand.
Daniel's an ATM machine at this point, making this call.
He'll need to improve to win this hand, otherwise he's going to get wrecked.
David Farah has a lot of bluff in him, a lot of heart in his poker game. Sometimes it backfires, sometimes it doesn't. It is going to work. He's taking the salt shaker out and putting it into the wound as he shows the bluff.
5-3, nothing.
Vinny's hand hold up. Yes, it does. Vinny hits the flush.
It's going to be tough to win this.
Daniel!
This game is so stupid.
You can bet we are in store for more exciting hands before we get to naming the next WPT champion. And here to help navigate the bets, bluffs and blow-ups are two of poker's best blokes, Vince Van Patten and Tony Dunst.
Lynn, we got a great final table, down to 5 players. Vinny Lima is the upset special. Came in as the short stack, and now he's in 3rd chip position. He has all the fans in the audience going crazy.
Yeah, they're making noise for him tonight, and it's starting to look like it could be Vinny's night, but there's no clear favorite around this table as the chips have been passed between these 5 players.
The winner of WPT Borgata will take home close to $750,000, as well as receive a set of Baccarat crystal flutes and the handsome Hublot Big Bang steel ceramic watch. Tournament officials have resumed play, so let's get down to the final table.
All right, thanks, Lynn. Here's a look at our Zynga Poker leaderboard. Dave Farah out on top of your WPT Borgata final table. Brendan Hall, Vinny Lima, and Dan Buskin all hanging around 10 million. And Joseph De Rosa Rojas at 8 million. Currently our short stack, but by no means short.
Here the blinds are going to be 200 and 400 with a big blind ante of 400. Here we go. A couple folds around to Daniel Busgun. 3rd time at a WPT final table. Tough young poker pro. He's got King 8 of hearts. And he will make it 900,000 to go. Next in line is our chip leader, David Farah, a former furniture store owner. Actually gave up the business to spend more time with his family and play poker. Not necessarily in that order. But he has been quite good tonight. And he is going to make this call with an ace-3. So here we go with the flop. It's a queen, jack, 8. So just like that, Daniel, the raiser, gets a piece of that with the 8s. What's he going to do with it?
Pretty good board to check back for Dan there. Both the overcards and the possibility of straights, flushes.
It's a 5 of diamonds here. Now, nothing for David Farah, but we've seen this for so long. Super aggressive player, not afraid to gamble. He's going to bet this 1.4 million.
And Dave has a habit of firing anytime he thinks he can't win at showdown. Here with just ace high,
Daniel's made
he believes
this
he
call.
needs to bluff his way out, and he's right.
Nothing hitting there for Farah.
That is a great bluff card on the river, especially for what Dave's been trying to represent. So this is a good bet here. You're telling the story that you've either got, you know, some kind of diamond draw that got there on the river, or maybe something like Jack 10, Queen 10, A10 that made a straight.
It's going to be painful if you show me a bluff, but I don't think I can call him.
Dave Farah, relentless here tonight. Right back on Dave Farah, and this time he pulls up a pair of jacks. Beautiful hand. And he knows what to do with that. It's going to make it 900,000. This is Joseph De Rosa Rojas from Caracas, Venezuela. First time ever on the WPT. He's going to go away. Vinny Lima came in as the short stack. He's going to fold that. Now Daniel Busgon with a 9-10 offsuit. 34 years old, says he's a great golfer, that he's a better golfer than he's a poker player. That must be pretty good.
That's surprising because I think Dan is an excellent poker player, so let's get him on the tour already.
Look at this flop jack, 8-5 and 3 of a kind here for Dave Farah, and open-ended straight for Busgon.
Crafty check from Dave there. I really thought he didn't have that in his arsenal, but I love that check with top set.
And now, diamond appears. Daniel doesn't get his straight, but he's going to take a stab at a bluff.
And this is a good bet from Dan. This board connects with his big blind range much more than Dave's raising range, or at least I hope so.